Thanks for having us on the show, by the way. This is awesome. Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, we are so happy to have you. And I was trying to think about how I discovered you guys, and I'm not really sure. But, when I heard that you guys do a weekly mental health check-in disguised as a podcast, I knew that you were my people. So
no, we're just saying, I think women tend to be better at saying, hey, we should talk, and just talking, and like that's the activity. Whereas men, at least in my experience, men will be like, that's insane. What do you mean? We just sit on a bench and just talk? Like, who does that? No, we've got to go for a beer or play golf, or like there has to be an activity. So Ben being cripplingly beta, we had to find something that he could do that wasn't. So yeah, we
can't even argue it. Can't even argue it. You know what I mean? It's almost exactly it.
But I'm a little confused, Ben. Are you autistic? Are you sober? Are you dyslexic? Like, what is your deal, man?
So
yes,
I'm on the autistic spectrum. So I struggle with the emotions and stuff. It's difficult to kind of pick up on subtlety. Rob enjoys bringing nothing but subtlety to the table, which is great because I feel like I'm learning a little bit more each week, so that's nice. I'm sober for 2 years, 6 months, and 4 days.
Wow.
And then dyslexic, it's a pain in the ass. The episode that we just recorded, was it last night or the night before?
Night before.
Rob got his revenge on me for putting one joke in last week's episode.
Yeah,
so
but Ben, by the way, this is Mac, my son, my very patient, indulgent son.
How we doing? Nice to meet you, buddy.
How are y'all? You too.
So, are you referring to licking strangers' buttholes?
Yes, he
that
is.
joke? Okay.
That was one joke, right? So Rob's revenge was to... he wrote the entire thing in Old English, like Romeo and Juliet type Old English. I can't even tell you whether the synopsis is correct because I don't know what I read. It just came out of my mouth.
There's not a two-syllable word in that breakdown.
You're such a cunt for it. It's unreal. Oh, sorry. Can I swear? I don't want to be like dropping.
Sure.
Oh, okay, cool.
Absolutely. Please
I think the question is, Ben, can you not swear? And the answer is no, so this is what we're left with.
Yeah. On our show, we drop the C-bomb quite a lot, but it's always like a term of endearment. It's like it's a loving thing. I think if I ever stop calling Rob a cunt, he should worry because then that's when I don't love him anymore.
Yes, when you start being nice to me, I'm going to start worrying that you're hiding
something.
It,
man. Yeah, if I bring you flowers and check in, sort of like panic.
Well, I took an online autistic quiz.
Okay.
And what did it say, Mac? I display more autistic traits than most of the...
Than Dustin Hoffman in Rain Man.
When she told me, I was like, yeah, I could have told you this.
Yeah.
In fact, I think I did.
Autism's only ever surprised to the people that have it.
Yes.
Legitimately. So me and my brother-in-law did an online thing together, right? And we did a test, and we were sitting there because my nephew is autistic, and he was trying to explain the way that he sees the world. And me and my brother-in-law were sitting there being sort of like, well, yeah, this is just how people see the world. Like,
exactly.
My nephew was like, can you just do me a favor and just fill this out real quick? And we both filled it out, and I think the maximum amount of marks was 33. And if you get above 11, you go see a doctor to get diagnosed. I scored 24 or 25. Yeah, so that was good.
That's so funny, the idea of the nephew being like, just fill this out for me.
Honestly,
just
I
real
love
quick,
that guy.
real quick.
Yeah.
We'll come back to what you're saying. Just real quick.
And that's the same thing my mom said to me, was she was like saying something, and she was like, you think this thing and you think this thing, and I was like, yeah, we're not the like baseline of normality. Like, it's weird. Like, this is the proof right here.
I think if I remember right, that was about how there are good and bad numbers, which there are, right?
100% agree.
There are.
100%
absolutely.
agree.
I'm just outing myself here, haven't I?
How's the dyslexia, Ben?
Shocking, but it's fun. It just makes me incredibly anal when it comes to spelling, and I more trip over myself. than anything else. So like my brain will go quicker than my mouth.
Yeah.
So I'm already like I'm like 2 sentences ahead. Do you know what I mean? So then my words get jumbled, I get pissed off, and I just end up going sort of like weird in a rage mode. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's super fun as a 35-year-old man, you know, when you're at work or something. It's good. It's a good place to be.
And how long have you guys known each other?
Ooh. Well, Ben had more colours in his hair than the LGBTQ plus flag.
I did.
You
It was
literally
great.
look like you've been dragged through backwards a sort of print shop.
And when I met
I
Rob, he
was
was wearing a
wearing-
blazer, and he looked like a street magician, and introduced himself as a Japanophile. I've never been more disgusted with a human in my entire life. I was like, I hate this man already.
That's not quite true. I asked you
That's
if you were
exactly
one.
true. No, you said, are you a fellow Japanophile? I remember this
Oh, right,
because
okay.
it seared into my brain immediately. And I was
Yeah.
like, it was like a mental checkpoint to never speak to this magician ever again. I was like, absolutely fucking not. That was when I was 18 years old at university.
Oh, wow.
So what's that? Like 18 years? 17 years. 17 or 18 years, something
17,
like that.
18 years, yeah.
Yeah. And then I
Long
fell in
enough
love
for
with
us to
him.
have had a baby.
Look at him. Yeah.
So you guys were you at the same school? together?
University,
same
college,
uni.
college. Yeah, so I'm just trying to do
Thank you
some
for the
transatlantic.
translation.
Yeah. College. So we went to separate high schools. I was valedictorian. That's a word that you guys use. I don't know what
Oh
it
my
means.
gosh.
What does
All
valedictorian
right.
mean? Like, what's the thing
It's
of it?
like the highest.
You're the
Oh,
top
right, okay.
first in class.
I thought it
Oh.
was a sexual preference. Like, hi, I'm valedictorian.
No.
Okay.
Just super into like Victorian porn. Like, look at those ankles.
Even
So-
wearing a hat.
How doth she?
And Rob, you have been described as posh. Would you care to
Right.
explain?
Yeah.
So, my family had loads of money when it was my great-grandparents. And then due to various family scandals and mental health issues, all the money got drank. So I grew up very, very financially deprived, but culturally there was still like books in the house and opera
Right.
was on. And like my grandmother was still desperate to cling on to like what she felt was her upper middle class identity, despite the fact that we were kind of on food stamps. And she was a raging sort of narcissistic alcoholic. Just, you know, she had her own stuff going on that I, as I've gotten older, I've kind of, if not forgiven her for, at least understood. But in practical terms, it meant that I grew up financially very poor, but that's the only way I was poor. Ben,
Also-
who,
Going forward, if you ever want to do like a test to see if a British person is posh, ask them to say glass or bath.
that's not quite true.
Go on, say it. Say it. Say
Glass.
those two words for me.
Glass
Glass.
and bath. Yeah.
Glass and bath. That's how
Glass
you can
and
tell he's
bath.
posh.
No,
Glass.
it's a regional thing. It's a regional thing. Anyone
it's not.
south of the midpoint.
No, it's not.
It is. It is. England's a weird place because we have wildly differing regional dialects for like distances that you guys would drive for ice cream.
Yeah, that's true.
Whereas in the US it tends to be kind of more state driven. Here it's like on this side of the street we talk like this, and Ben's just in the middle part, which yeah. But no, I'm referred to as posh because I've read a book. And according to Ben, that's just...
I've read a book in the bath. And that's why he calls me posh.
With my glass.
Yeah, exactly. A nice glass of wine in the bath.
Yeah.
Unreal.
How you
I
guys
was literally just about to ask, how did you guys meet? But, you know.
Well,
Wow. Funny story.
I don't remember it, but
Yeah, I was pretty doped up at the time, actually, on some heavy meds. But
You can imagine.
it was in Korea. Isn't
was
that
in-
interesting? That's my fun fact, is that I was born in South Korea.
Oh my god!
true?
Did you have Korean?
It's
Do you
true.
have a dual passport?
No, but that is the question everybody asks. Is they're always like, "So you're a citizen?" They don't want us.
No.
Absolutely not.
But he did get a birth certificate issued by the embassy, so that was
wow.
Has
cool.
made no, it's not cool because it's made my life a lot harder. Because when I changed my name on like everything I owned, but then when I showed the DMV my birth certificate, they were like. Like,
No.
good luck.
This isn't real. What is this?
Exactly. They were like, just get a passport. Just
Yeah.
write this one off.
So you've proven to us that you have a home printer. That's great.
Yeah. All the
sorry,
ones
fellas.
beside the birth certificate.
Oh, okay.
And
That's
except
great.
for my credit score, it's really complicated. So I don't know if this is like identity fraud, but like now my credit score is not tied to my name right now.
Oh my God, you're in a perfect position.
That's
that is
perfect.
really
You want to
good.
buy me a laptop?
I'm nobody right now.
Right?
Oh wow,
He's a ghost.
That is pretty cool.
That's
That's
awesome.
No.
But no, yeah. So Mac's dad and I were English teachers in South Korea, and
Oh wow.
yeah,
That's
we
awesome.
yep, we thought we were going to make a lot of money as English teachers in South Korea, and we're going to pay
Okay.
down all our college debt, and that didn't happen. But
Oh,
changed my whole life.
You got the greatest
Yeah.
joy in the world.
there you
Right?
go.
Yeah, there's that.
And Mac's going to make all the money now, so you can just
Yeah.
kick back, retire,
That's
That's
the plan.
it. That's
That
it.
is the
Yeah.
plan.
Totally bank on that.
invest in the future with a man who doesn't have a credit score. Perfect.
There you go. See?
So should we get into this film, guys?
Yeah,
sure.
This was a first-time watch, I believe, for Rob and Mac.
Yes, I've never
Oh,
seen
well,
it.
nice. Okay. That's
Nice.
a nice bit of symmetry because I was not expecting this film at all.
I told him nothing. I told him nothing about it. I was like, dude, it's just a weird horror. Go watch it. And that was it.
Yeah.
That was the heads up he got.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys had seen it before, right? Like at the time when it came out?
Or,
Yeah, I saw it
I mean,
when it
you
came
know how
out.
memory is like not a very reliable witness.
Not in this
But-
call.
But I got sober in 04, and I guess this movie came out in 02. And what I'm thinking is when Netflix had like through the mail DVD,
Yes.
Yeah,
you know,
Yeah.
I'm thinking that's how I watched it because I can sort of remember the apartment I had, and I watched it a bunch. So
Do you know what
Awesome.
struck me about Netflix in the mail the other day that I'd totally forgotten? And I know it's like the kind of boomer thing of like, oh, Netflix used to come in the post. But like, it did. And secondly, the thing I'd totally forgotten is you didn't choose what you saw. You just wrote a list of films you'd like to see, and they would send one to you when it was available. Like, you'd have your
That's
30
right.
preferences, and they'd just be like,
Yeah.
well, number 29 is available this week, so I hope that impulse choice you made 4 weeks ago is what you want for date night. Here's Schindler's List. Like, this being a Netflix choice, are kind of like, oh, quirky little 2002 horror, I'll watch that. Oh my God, what's happening?
and I thought that the initial shot where she's holding her eye, I thought we actually saw the knife go into her eye.
Yeah.
Again, like memory is just like really
Yeah.
not reliable. But Ben, you said you saw this as a kid.
Yeah,
How
by
old
mistake.
were you exactly?
4 years old.
No, I was in media in the box or not. So sort of like the only reason that I saw Taxi Driver is because they put the wrong disc in the box, right? So we get home.
Right.
Wow.
I can't remember what it was. I think it was
You tried to rent Crazy Taxi for the
No, it was. I think it was
Dreamcast.
George of the Jungle. That one. You know the one with? Is it?
Oh my god.
Is it? And it's not Tim Allen. Who's the?
Brandon
Oh,
Fraser.
Jungle to Jungle. It was Jungle to Jungle.
Right.
I remember.
A film
we
so
were supposed to watch
obscure,
that.
I've never heard of it.
I've not heard of that one either.
It's terrible. It's awful. But we got Taxi Driver instead of Jungle to Jungle, so win-win. And then this particular weekend, we had May in one of the DVD boxes, and my sister put it on, and then carried on doing her housework and stuff, and left me and my
God.
much younger 2 nephews sitting and watching the film. Right. So we're sitting there. The film's opening shot of May clutching a bloodied bulbous
Screaming.
eye socket, screaming, and we were just sitting there like, this is an
God,
odd
Tim Allen's
choice.
a good actor, isn't he?
This is an odd choice. Is this Jungle to Jungle? Is this so we watched that on repeat for like, I don't know, 12 hours, maybe. It was incredible. It was incredible. And then after that, I was
fascinated
obsessed.
to know, Mac. Like, I think you're the only one here who may not have been around to witness early 2000s cinema at the time, right?
Well, actually, I did watch a lot of movies that I think maybe I watched at too young of an age.
Right, yeah.
And so this actually, I very much was like, oh yeah, this is like a time capsule. I mean, I feel like if you have Sisto in something, like it's
100%.
that it marks it as early 2000s. But the fashion
he didn't make
and
it
like
past 2008. He was like Northern Rock and the financial crisis. He
and
just knows it.
he's gone.
Yeah.
Have you guys looked up what he looks like now?
No.
Oh God, no! Has he done a Robert
just
Smith?
take a moment.
Let's have a look.
Jeremy Sisto.
Jeremy Sisto.
Okay. He just looks like a dad.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I thought for a moment he was going to be like Robert Smith from The Cure, who in the 80s was this elfin, gorgeous little like twink boy, and now just looks like a melted melon.
Yeah, he's
kind of looks
his
like
head's gotten bigger.
Yeah, he's got a
he's
very
inflated.
big...
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But no, Jeremy Sisto's looking good. He's looking good.
Yeah.
He looks like that one guy at the barbecue that shows up 40 minutes late and brings nothing.
I feel like he would ask to help grill. Or maybe just take over the grill.
That's it. He'd bring his own tongs in like a holster. That's the sort of guy that Sisto's become.
Yeah. But no, Matt, the reason I asked is because rewatching this, I was shocked to remember how inappropriately horny all early 2000s horror movies are. Like, just out of context. Like, I've rocked up to work, here's my colleague. Oh, she's kissing me on the face. Like, that's not a thing that's real and doesn't exist in cinema. But in the early 2000s, that was like every other scene. Yeah. It made me remember like 13 Ghosts. Oh, yep. Okay, yep. Just perving on the sister now for 20 minutes. What? Like, this film...
I think it warped my sense of the world a little bit. Like,
it gave me, shocking expectations that have never been met. Every day is a disappointment when I go to the vet.
I've applied for every vet job going, and not one person has licked my ear.
Do you know how often I fall asleep in cafes with my hand up?
Wow.
It's a nightmare. It's the main reason Rob works in a cafe.
Yeah, this has definite indie vibes, which I was totally into at the, and I can be into today. But I don't know, some of the acting in some places was pretty uneven.
Shocking,
like, whose
right?
dad is
It's a
that?
mixed bag.
The main reason I wanted us to do this film, right, is because it's nostalgic as fuck to look back at 2002 and go, wow, that was the world. You know what I mean? Because you wake up every day in a minute and it's a little bit sadder. You look back at early 2000s, you're like, everyone was just in massive shoes, bell-bottom jeans, not giving a shit about anything. You can make any movie about anything, and like Rob said, throw tits in it, and boom, it's a slasher. You know what I mean?
Every female member of the human race was on the brink of starvation.
yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Just watching this film being like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, I just wanted to throw sandwiches at the screen. Like, please.
Yeah.
But I wanted to bring it because it's like, not only is it a fun horror, but it's also like just goofy, dumb comedy that's played out like goofy, dumb comedy, and none of it is trying to be anything else. It just sets itself up for exactly what it's supposed to be. And then inexplicably turns into just sort of the weirdest body horror, I'm going to build a fucking meat puppet thing from the left field ever. You don't get it. You don't get it like this anymore. Do you know what I mean?
It's sort of a warning tale about not dating Disney girls. You go around to their house and the bed is just filled with Disney plushies, and you're like, you are in your 30s.
Did you say Uber
I need to
or
go.
Lyft?
I watched this like kind of back to back to get ready for this, and and I don't think I've seen it in between, like whatever 2004 and now, and so I remembered things a little bit differently. Is she the manicest, pixiest dream girl like ever? Like, is she like the prototype, or?
I feel like Jeremy Sisto is a manic pixie dream boy in this movie.
Yes,
because
got the hands.
And he's so well, I like weird, and like the fact that he's even flirting with her, I'm just like, this is already unbelievable. That he's I mean, I know he's kind of hesitant the whole time, but I was like, man, I would be like, I just feel like you could not pay me to go into this woman's house. Like from first meeting.
he works as an auto mechanic in a garage, but like you go back to his house and it's got like Nine Inch Nails artwork on the wall.
Yes,
and it's like, oh, he's like a cool hipster guy, and I'm like, that's not how mechanics are. That's just not how they are. Like,
yeah.
And then Anna Faris is kind of a manic pixie dream girl too.
Yeah.
Somewhat too manic. That, I mean, don't get me wrong, I was violently attracted to her vibe in this film, but also I'm 35 now and I know that's danger. Like
1,000%. Yeah. She is a walking red flag in this film, but it's fucking
but
incredible.
What I liked watching it fresh, not having seen it at the time, is I think you're right. There is an element of May being a manic pixie dream girl, but it's taken to such a degree that it becomes monstrous. And I think it's actually quite a nice antidote to the manic pixie dream girl thing. It's like, okay, Ramona Flowers and Scott Pilgrim's kind of cool, but what if you take it up a few more degrees and suddenly like, oh, this is horrific. I really enjoyed that. As a kind of counterpoint to the manic pixie dream girl, and be like, do we really like this? Do we really celebrate this? No, actually, no, this is horrific. I loved it. It has a really odd sort of dual. There's what's happening on screen, and then there's how it's making you feel, and those two are very rarely the same thing.
Well, Mac was texting me a little bit as he was watching it today, and what was the word you used, Mac? Uneasy or
unsettling? Yeah, I feel like the whole thing. Yeah, I mean, it starts off so wild that you already are like, okay, what's gonna happen here? But like, I feel like it really hit me when she was telling the story of the using the cat sutures on the big dog, where I just feel like that is such a great moment where Sister's like, well, yeah, tell me something weird, I can handle it, and like he could not handle it. That's amazing. I love that.
Yeah, because
the way that she does it like so calmly.
Yes, so straight faced,
and you're primed and expected for something charmingly weird, you know, like oh, and then the dog pooped. Oh, aren't I weird that I found that funny? And him be like, nah, poop's funny, you're all right. And then it's like, and then his guts fell out all over the kitchen, and you're like, oh, we're in danger.
Wow, that's super fun. Yeah.
Or even her reaction to his film of like just being like, that was really sweet. Like, what?
Yeah, dude, I watched this when I was like, I must have been like 14 years old, right? And 14 years old, starting to be attracted to people, going through the changes. And then this film appears on TV, and I'm like, I am fucking terrified of women. I am never going near a single woman ever again. So that was good. I cured it by watching Species, which then also pushed me well into my teens, and I was like, I think I might just steer off everyone forever. This is going to be lovely. They're either dangerous manic pixie girls or aliens in human skin suits. You know what I mean? Neither's
it's
preferable.
True is the sad thing.
I know.
I want to ask you all: do you sympathize with Jeremy Sisto's character?
Ooh. Yes, I do. I don't think he's a good person, but I don't think you have to be a good person, and I don't think not being a good person means you deserve to get turned into a meat puppet. You know, like he's an unappealingly sort of. He's not even unpleasant. He's just a very average, very flawed man.
He's undeserving of those perfect hands, right?
He is, yes.
He's got hand model calibers, right? Hand model caliber hands on a mechanic who's also a bit of a dick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Doesn't pan out.
But I think in terms of what he knows is being heard, because obviously she hears his sort of quick capsule review of her to his friends while he thinks he's talking in private. So although we as the audience sort of resent his take on her, it's not what he's telling her. As far as he is aware that she knows, there was a bit of a spark there. He got a little bit freaked out. He backed off kind of politely and was like, okay, don't wait outside my house, and maybe we've gone a little bit too far too soon, and I'll see you around. That doesn't strike me as like turn him into a meat puppet. What a prick! I'm like,
I don't know, man. I'm kind of with May on that one, man. I'm kind of like fucking take his hands.
Yeah, I think I am too. I mean, he calls her a lunatic.
Yeah,
not to her face.
But that's what makes it worse.
Well, yes.
I feel like I would. Like, I'm sorry.
I think he's a liar.
I feel like there's a private opinion, and then there's the opinion that you present. It's like,
I'm going to call bullshit on that one, because how many times weekly do you take the piss out of me for being autistic, dyslexic, and fucking like the sober vegan, right? It's literally like, that is a weekly thing. If you're doing that if you're doing that publicly, what are you saying privately? Because that's fucking terrifying. No, it's okay.
the difference is I've known you for 18 years, and I know how far I can push and have you find it enjoyable. With the stranger, if they came back to mine and then they started trying to bite my fingers off, I'd perhaps to you be like, that person was a fucking lunatic. And then when I saw them, I might be like, hey, let's just call this off,
Oh God, I would love to be there for that interaction. I would feast off that awkwardness. I would feast off it. So Rob, what did you really enjoy about, hanging out the other night? What was it? Tell me in detail.
I feel like he might be better than me, because I feel like I would just flat avoid her and never
just
say
ghost,
anything
right?
to her. Yeah, but he at least was like, listen, it's not going to be romantic, but, I feel like that was nice.
That was nice. You could just cut all contact. I mean, fuck it. You're not even got a credit score. They can't even find you through your
They
purchases.
can't find
Just banging on the desk at the DMV, being like, who is he?
We've just got a home printout, but it's all in Korean. We don't know.
I found a theory on this film that says, after the doll glass breaks in the classroom and all the kids get all cut up and she's got glass on her hands, and for some reason she decides to rub her eyeballs with glassy fingers.
Yeah.
And you know how like all her eyes are cut up and like bloodshot and weird and kind of like demon eyes.
For about 12 hours, yeah.
Yeah, so, for about 12 hours, exactly. They heal up immediately. So the theory is that everything that happened after that point is her fantasy. It's all unreliable narration. So she's the one that's imagining Jeremy coming up to her and being sort of like, hey, it's not going anywhere. I'm so sorry. So the only reason that he was polite about it is because in her fantasy, she gets the closure that she deserves, right? And then also,
I could believe it, because then she can talk to people, like she has a normal tone of voice. I mean, I don't mean to be rude, not like normal, but but she's not like heavy breathing when she talks to everybody.
Yeah.
And she's pretty cool. And like you said, she's no scars or anything. And then obviously at the end, the puppet caresses her. So I feel like that's pretty. I could see that.
Plus, her clothes get insane. Like after that point, they're all like just random patches of shit all over the clothes, and everyone's like, "God, you look so quirky." No, you look insane, Rob. If you showed up in like a weird patchwork T-shirt, I would be like, "Have you had an accident? What is happening right now?"
Yeah.
Who do we call?
Again, in my 20s, I'd have been like, "Oh my God, you look so quirky."
Yeah, Are you a Japanophile?
The fellow Japanophile is so funny to me.
Honestly, Jesus.
Yeah.
Such a left field thing to hear.
I was a greasy little music kid who read too many books when I was a child, and then I became a teenager, and it took a while to like shed all those bits of the chrysalis, And
rather than work on it, you thought, fuck it, I'm going to get a blazer and learn how to do card tricks.
People said, be who you are, and I tried that, and it's not true.
That's not what they want, actually.
Yeah, they're like, be yourself, and I'm like, okay.
That's what May did, and look what happened to her. Now she's got a skin puppet as a pet. Like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, she should start a podcast with it.
Could you imagine? Dude, I would listen to that shit all day long.
I think it all goes back to the mom, though, right? Because the mom was, put that shame on her that she had this weird eye. And, had her cover up her eye with her hair and things like that. And
it's the obsession of like being perfect and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
That was an interesting thread in this that I thought they did a good amount of showing without hammering home. Is that her standards of beauty are so high that they're not satisfied by anyone else in the cast. She finds a flaw with every single one of them. The only way that she can get somebody who meets her standards is to make this patchwork of all of them, because she's been given these sort of insanely high standards that mean nobody fits. So she has to make a collage of everybody in order to find somebody that fits the standards that she's been holding herself to. And I'd be as nervous as May if I was like, oh God, where are my stitches?
Right?
Yeah. I really like, there's some humor with that too. Before you guys got on, we were talking about Anna Faris's, hairy mole on her finger, and how May just becomes obsessed with it. She just can't not look at it.
That's like a really astute observation. I feel like when you're that insecure, you do start projecting it onto other people. And I know it's like kind of a thing. It's a little bit of a cheesy thing of like, oh, everybody's just jealous. But I do feel like if you're constantly taking your time to pick apart other people, that is like happy people don't do that.
No. I've got to bring them down so that they're at my level. I'm below them. And therefore, in order to be in the room with them, I have to break them down. Oh, that mole. Although I will say, a really hairy brown mole, if you have been in the room with one, you have to mention it. You can't, until it's mentioned, it is distracting.
I mean, honestly, she just should go to a dermatologist just in case.
Right, just get it mapped.
Right, health perspective, definitely.
Yeah,
thank you.
That's what she was trying to say.
And I feel like when you walk in the room and someone's got one, you just go, I want to ask, but I can't ask. And so it's just there at the forefront of your mind. I'm with May on that one. Not so much with the reaction continuing. I feel like once it's been acknowledged, move on.
That does remind me. I've always had this like a mole on my back, and at one point I was just in a grocery store.
Well, now I feel bad.
No, this is funny. And it was I don't want it there. And I was wearing an open back shirt, and this woman behind me touched my back, and she was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you had a tick on you." And I was like, "Okay, first off, if I did, that is still weird to be like,
you got molested,
I got you, stranger."
Oh my god,
it was so bizarre.
Oh
I was like, "No, ma'am, I'm sorry. That's my body."
Oh my god.
Oh my god, man.
You got molested. That's insane.
Jesus.
So yeah, you're right. People do feel an impulse when they see something.
But I think the fantasist theory pans out perfectly, because the switch in her personality from barely able to start a sentence to suddenly she's speaking in full conflict-ridden sentences with eye contact. I'm like, okay, that's either fantasy or you found the cocaine.
It's 1,000% like it's when you go through arguments in your head in the shower and you're like, yeah, I could have fucking said this to them. Yeah. Oh god, that would have been good to say. It's just that. But she's still cleaning the glass that she rubbed into her own eyeballs. Just literally fuck those guys. And cut his stupid fucking hands off.
Stupid kids.
Yeah. I really like the message that she leaves on his voicemail or his answering machine, where I don't know the line exactly, but it's like she's got to stop. Because what she said is absurd. I would hope that we would be together in the future sometime or something like that. And then she's like, okay, what I meant was, because I've definitely done that. And I think that especially in childhood, I had to my parents had me to write things down, and rehearse them so that I would be able to speak to people in a semi-normal way.
Awesome.
So I really like that. I think that was a really beautiful, piece that showed her character.
The nerves of answering phone or voicemail messages where you just realize, you sort of look at your phone, you're like, how is it 3 minutes and 45 seconds? What have I actually said? I've not said anything. I'm just talking. I'm going to go now. Bye. And then you hear the boop of the disconnect and you just sit in your pool of shame and go, it's permanent.
Then you send the next message saying, that last one, just forget about it.
I could scroll up on WhatsApp and show you just sort of like 6 back-to-back voice notes from Rob, each individually like getting longer in like 20-second increments. Like it takes 20 seconds to explain the last one, and then you move on to the next point, and then it's like, oh no shit, because now I need to explain that. All right, okay.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's super fun. Sometimes I walk out of work and I have like a solid 15 minutes worth of content to get through before I start my car, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is cool. This is cool.
I really am liking this like theory that you presented, Ben, that's all like a delusion after a certain point, because if it's not that, like, what do we think happens? Like, does she kill herself by gouging out her eye, and as she's dying, she's having this hallucination, or like...
Ooh,
so the alternate
cool
theory that I had, which is much straighter, but sort of plays with the themes of the film that are presented in the first 2 acts. There's a Nine Inch Nails song, and there's a lyric in it, and nothing can stop me now because I don't care anymore. And it feels a little bit like once things get to a certain point of broken with May, that she's kind of free of the standards that she set herself because it's all ruined. So it doesn't matter. She's kind of free of the worry of what happens if it all goes wrong. It has all gone wrong. And I think quite a few of us on this call can relate to, oh, it's all on fire. I'll just get the matches out then. I've always wanted to play with the matches. Hooray. What's the worst that can happen? Because it's already happened. And that kind of freedom and that confidence that comes with, oh, well, it's all already broken.
Yeah.
If it's not the fantasy, then I think it has to be that. It has to be her kind of embracing the wrong and just going, do you know what? I'm done trying to live by the rules that they've set, and I've done a murder. So,
Yeah.
Sort of from the murder of blank, really. He finds the cat, and she just goes, I mean, that guy, I was watching the film. Watching the film, and it was this weird sort of set of revelations. I was like, that is not a real haircut. That's not a real person. Then he starts to go on about rubbing ice on his nipples, and I'm like, oh, this is taking a turn.
The most relatable character in the whole film. He just wants ice on his nips, man. Just let him be.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And then I realise it's Frank from Donnie Darko.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Icy nip
okay.
Frank,
Weird
man.
time traveling. Yeah, it's the weird time traveling dead bunny man from Donnie Darko with one eye.
I don't remember Donnie Darko at all.
But does that work with the timeline, Rob? Like, when did Donnie Darko come out?
Donnie Darko was, I remember because I was 14 and goth and just fell head over heels in love.
So it
Donnie
would have been
Darko was 2001, so it was before this.
So it could
So
be.
he did that and then
Could
was like,
be.
I've got a role. Wow, I've been in an indie darling, beloved by critics. Do you know what I'm going to do? I've got a character. It's all about the hair.
Yeah, man.
I think it's so sad when he says he's not going to be her friend.
That's
Okay.
heartbreaking.
I mean,
Okay. It is sad. It is sad for her, but also
I wrote down like leave first, then call her a freak. Like that was the mistake. Was like
Right?
you open
Yeah.
up a
Right.
freezer, you see a dead cat. Like you don't say, "Hey, you're a freak," because dead cat killer's right here. Leave.
yeah.
But no, I would never be this woman's friend if I found a dead cat in her freezer.
Yeah, look, we've all been in the situation, and what you do is you lay on the sympathy and you go, oh, you must have loved that pet so much. What a loving way to keep... You provide them with the excuse, right?
Yes.
You
Yeah,
give
yeah,
them
yeah.
the socially acceptable reason.
Yeah.
You're already on board with it. They can jump onto that raft as you back out the door.
Yeah.
Come on, this is every Tuesday.
I'll get a casket for it. I'll be back in a bit.
Yeah. Oh, what a loving tribute.
I had to tell Mac that there was a cat death in this film. Do you guys need any like warnings when you're watching films?
I use the website doesthedogdie.com quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Use that.
That's a
you?
great site.
Yeah. Anyone kills a dog, anything like that, I'm out. It just
Okay,
shatters the whole film.
I'm just getting rid
Yeah.
of some of the films I've put in the slate.
Yeah, thanks, man.
I mean,
Thanks, man.
Ruined now.
It's one of the main reasons I don't like the remake of The Evil Dead. 2013 one. Like, it's a super fun horror movie, but at the end of the movie, when they're trying to turn the dog killer into the hero, I'm like, get fucked. No. No. Don't deserve it. Doesn't deserve it. End of. Did Grandpa live? No. Did he? He was the real hero. And what did we do? Fucking shank him off screen. That's all he got. Unacceptable.
Yeah, you wouldn't. Yeah, I'm fine. If it, yeah, I don't have much that I'd. Again, Ben and I talk about this all the time on our show. Like, if you're gonna do something troubling, as long as the emotional arc of the film justifies it, then I'm totally fine with it. It's when it's needless and it's just in there to be a jolt.
Yeah.
That I just go, okay, what are we doing here? Are we telling a story about people with that have feelings and are we sort of drawing an emotional arc, or are you just showing disturbing stuff and going, ooh? Because then it's sideshow. Then it's, roll up, look at the boy with two asses for a face. It's like,
yeah,
okay, yeah, but like,
and this is why May's an important film. It's all justified. You know what I mean?
I do think
it is.
Yeah.
Well, the three-legged dog. I'm not sure if the three-legged dog is justified, but
you know what that reminds, like that actually felt a little bit too, because like I was randomly on TikTok and somebody just was like, my cat's tail fell off, and I was like, is this? And then I see this movie, I'm like, is this just a thing that happens? Do like animals' limbs just like come
just
off
to
sometimes?
You?
Yeah, just,
There'll be a third one.
I mean, I felt like the dog story, I just really feel like that part is so good because you don't see anything, but it's, I feel like it's more gruesome than the cat death, honestly.
Yeah.
Because that, and I'm thinking of if I was that owner, that would be like the worst moment of my life.
I think
and like
the
just
owner of
how
that
she's
dog-
like, well, we'll just use the cat stitches. Like, no, that's horrible.
The way that she's just like, yeah, I can stitch it back on. And then that's the end of that story and that guy's gone forever. It's just sort of like, the stereotypical stoner guy that's just happy that something has happened in his day. Like, that's him in this movie. And he's just sort of like, well, my dog's fixed. That's fine. That girl was totally fine. Nothing went wrong there at all. Good job.
But I think it's important in that it sort of sets the surrealism of the film. There's an awful lot in this film where if you took it as a literal, say you took it less indie and you said, oh, this is a mainstream horror, and you just go, well, this plot is ridiculous. Yeah. This isn't how people behave, and that's not what would happen. But I think the three-legged dog story is the sort of marker that we're in a strange place where strange things are just taken as normal by everybody. In the same way that sort of nobody speaks the way that Wes Anderson characters speak. That's just not how humans communicate. Yeah. But it's so consistent and it's so stylized that you just go, oh, I'm in this little storybook land, and I'm watching a fictional tale, and it's very heavily stylized to sort of indicate that it's a fictional tale. And I think the three-legged dog story sort of is quite early in the film, and it sets that kind of, we're in a 1950s sci-fi Twilight Zone kind of world, but the characters don't know that they're in it. Yeah, I think it's always important that your characters don't know what genre they're in.
That's a great point, man.
Right? Because like in horror movies, if you knew you were in a horror movie, you'd be like, oh, let's go to the woods. You're like, fucking no.
Yeah. I'm going to sit here and eat peanut butter for the next 2 hours. Go fuck yourself.
Exactly.
Have you guys seen any of Lucky McKee's other work? Like last night I found a movie called The Woman from, it might be 2011. I'm not sure. But our girl Angela Bettis is in it.
Right.
Okay.
I'm just having a look at the list of his films, and none of them. Although one of them sounds like something that Ben would very much enjoy. It's called Evil Demon Golf Ball from Hell. And
where were you looking?
I just went to Lucky McKee films and just scrolled the list, and there's Evil Demon Golf Ball from Hell, and I'm frankly shocked. Because the only reason I read that out is because I was sure you would have seen it based on the title alone.
I mean, no, it sounds incredible straight off the bat, but no. He did Old Man. Okay, sorry.
I mean, you're the horror man. You're the horror guy. What's
No.
Old Man?
Awful film. Like, just it's not awful film to watch. It's a great film, but it's a hard watch. Super hard watch. Immediately.
The Woman is also pretty hard to watch, but I guess that Lucky McKee had written a novel with this guy, and then they made like 2 or 3 movies together involving a feral, cannibalistic group of people who live in the woods. But I think I saw the middle one or the last one or something.
Right.
That's the one that is the woman. But I would recommend it.
I saw All Cheerleaders Die. I like that movie a lot.
You saw that one?
Yeah. It's kind of surreal, like this movie.
I'm such a horror newbie in that I kind of did the big franchise horrors. I watched a lot of them when I was a kid with my grandmother, who had stacks and stacks of VHS of like old Hammer horror and like 1960s, like really pulpy stuff. And then I just sort of let it go by for decades, and then started a podcast with a horror obsessed man who's seen things that I didn't even know existed. And so, no, this is my first Lucky McKee movie. I'm curious to see more. I think The Woman and the Demon Golf Ball from Hell are on the watch list.
Oh, Demon Golf Ball from Hell, I'm actually going to try and get that right now.
And Mac, you'd recommend All Cheerleaders Die?
I think so. I don't really remember it that much, but I just do remember it being very silly and
nice.
kind of cute in a cute way.
I think this is kind of cute in a cute way.
Yeah,
I think May's
it
kind of
is.
cute. Look after her, and like you want her to do better.
But from a distance,
I want
though.
the
every
best
mistake
for
she
her.
makes.
Yeah.
I think when you like are in May's head, it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Like when she's like making out with Jeremy Sisto, and she just has to keep his hands like.
Yeah.
You know, she has to see where his hands are all the time. I think that is such a wonderfully choreographed sequence between the two of them. And
when she
like
bites
really
him,
enjoy
she
it.
says, just like your movie. Like for
Yeah,
her, she's
so-
confused because she's like,
She
You
has no
showed me it.
experience.
Yeah.
I don't know
That's
how
why
to
I
do
think
this
he's a
human intimacy
liar.
thing. And
Right? He sets her up for a way of life. She steers into it, and he's like, "Whoa, Nelly, that's
not what I meant."
Yeah, no, this is just for looking."
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
typical toxic 90s masculinity, isn't it? It's like, do you know what I'd like to do? This. Okay, let's do it. No.
yeah.
yeah, for sure. Well, I also really like it that he's really into Dario Argento, I guess. And you know, and did you see at the end of his film, it said Regia D?
Yes.
You know, like, oh, come on. Like, so pretentious. But that makes so much sense, of course.
really
if he was
does.
in film school, that's what you would put at the end of your
Oh,
film.
okay. I suppose that explains the apartment, because I was like, there's just no mechanic whose apartment it's like. But okay, he's a film student. Well, yeah, no, okay, that does make more sense.
I think I don't know, the mechanic stuff I think is a little clunky, because I think he's a mechanic so we can see him sort of feeling that car. But beyond that, I'm not really sure why he's a mechanic.
I feel like David Cronenberg's Crash must have come out maybe a year or two before, and they were like, let's have a man with nice hands stroke a car.
Yeah.
Do you know, I watched David Cronenberg's Crash for the first time at the age of 12 with my grandmother.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
And she started the film, and it starts with, oral sex, just straight off scene one, set the scene. Okay, oral sex on a plane. She's there, she's going, okay, well, I mean, this is perfectly normal. This is just what adults do. And as the film goes on, that line became harder and harder to stick to.
Yes.
This reminds me of one time my dad was driving me somewhere. Like, this was
God.
right when My Humps by the Black Eyed Peas came out, and I was in middle school, but we were just listening to the whole CD, and that's not the first track. And we're just listening to the CD, and then My Humps comes on, and we just listen to the whole thing in silence, and then he turns it off and is like, you know what, let's listen to something else.
You can't turn it off halfway through.
I
It
guess
shows
that's what.
that you just got to go, no, we're in this now. We're just here.
But
this
then
is
he
just how
tapped
we
out.
live.
Like a coward.
You get to the end of the track and you go, that was lovely. I'm not sure what the next one is, so we're going to put Queen back on.
It can only get worse from here.
I had a similar thing with my dad. I remember being about 6 years old, and the Everly Brothers' Wake Up Lil Susie came on, and I was like, why is she asleep? And he was like, you'll figure it out. Never have. Never have, and that comment haunts me to this day. I'm like, what did you think it was? Like, okay.
what is that called? Sleeping Beauty syndrome or something?
Yeah.
That's a kink, Ben. But I don't. Beyond that, I don't know.
It is.
Stop it.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Ben's quite innocent in the ways of the world, but it is.
Hey, right? I'm more interested in collectibles. I watched May and Species at a young, tender age. You know what I mean? Those were my formative years.
Species. I think that would be more traumatic, maybe.
Oh yeah, but it totally holds up. I watch it on like an annual basis, just to refresh the fear. You know what I mean? Just be careful though.
Rob, did you see a movie at an inappropriately young age that haunts you to this very day?
Crash.
Crash. Crash probably was where a certain part of my life started to go a bit wrong.
Yeah. Nanny Crash brought the party too early, right?
Yeah. Now I think about it. So there was a weird Hammer horror movie that I forgot. I think it was called The Creeping Flesh.
Yes, we've done it on the podcast.
No way.
I don't know what age I watched it at, but I watched it and I must have been like small, because I've watched it since, and I'm like, this is fun. But there was nothing fun about it when I was a kid. I think is it one where there's like red glowing eyes in the back of the train? And that was just like, it's the fact it was a train. So, you know, on Train to Busan, the Korean zombie movie, and you're like, well, they're on a linear transport. I mean, you have to get to and it was a similar thing, but the 60s and slow zombies. And I was just like, well, they're fucked. That's just it. You can't leave a train. The emergency alarm's not going to work. You'll get fined 50 quid. I don't have 50 quid. I'll just die. I think that like obscure, not so popular Peter Cushing Hammer horror movies that for some reason I was like, oh, this is terrifying. And you watch it now and you go, it's goofy as hell. But to an 8-year-old, it's the intent, you know?
Yeah.
It's and Salem's Lot. That fucking kid tapping on the window of the 1970s Salem's Lot.
Still fucks me up.
Just absolutely not. Let me in.
No.
I'm like, no. Use the door. Use the door like a normal person and we'll talk.
That still fucks me up, man.
What about you guys? What was your kind of...
I think mine was the original. Help me. Invasion of the Body Snatchers. The original, though. I saw that way too young, and it freaked me out, and it really colored my whole view of like people and like who's a real person, who's a pod person, and like
I feel like if you're saying, oh, autism, struggle with facial expressions and being able to read people, and then you watch pod people at a young age, you're like, fuck.
Fuck, I don't understand human emotions. How do we do this? I'm pretty sure.
God. Yeah, no, that would. Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah.
Well, one time I had a babysitter and she watched Outbreak, which again is a super silly movie if you watch it now. But at the time, it had me so afraid that we were all going to die from a disease from monkeys. So that really scared me. And then also, you know that show, it used to air on like VH1, like I Love the 80s, I Love the 90s. I never watched these movies as a kid, but I saw so many clips of like, you know, just all the classic horror movies like Nightmare on Elm Street and Child's Play. And like that scared me. Just seeing those clips, I was like, oh no. And I remember Nightmare on Elm Street scared me specifically because that concept's horrifying. But then my brother kind of came in clutch because I had like a knockoff dream catcher, and he lied and was like, well, in that movie, they took they caught him in the dream catcher and they threw it away. So just throw your dream catcher away and Freddy can't get you anymore. And I was like, oh, great. Whew, I'm saved.
What an incredible way to get a dream catcher from your young brother.
Yeah.
Right?
That's like...
Why did you want him to throw it away?
God, I want that dream catcher.
Well, sometimes on the main show, we rate the film, you know, based on a metric that we make up. I mean, dolls is the obvious choice.
Dolls is good,
well, how many creepy dolls would we give May?
I think this is a real doll. I think this is. It surprised me because I was kind of expecting a schlocky, kind of trashy, relatively thin movie. I was like, okay, well, it's going to be riffing on Frankenstein somehow because I'd read the Amazon Prime paragraph, which I always try and avoid doing, but sometimes you can't help it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it's going to be like a late 90s, early 2000s. There's going to be lots of like grunge and occasional bits of like techno, and there's going to be a fashion montage while she does Frankenstein, and it'll be fine. It was so much more than that.
The fact that I recommended this film and you're just sort of like, oh, yeah, so I've never seen this before. It's definitely going to be some schlocky piece of shit from the early 2000s.
Ben,
It's nice, man. Yeah, it's good.
Film.
It's good. No, no, no.
I love the film 13 Ghosts. I can't defend it, but I love it.
Yeah, to be
right?
fair.
If I recommended 13 Ghosts to somebody and be like, I love this film, it's from 2000 and whenever, and I couldn't sit there and go, no, man, it's really deep. It's got some. And I just didn't expect that from this, and it did. So I think this is a good 10 out of 10 creepy dolls for me.
Awesome.
Nice.
Great. What do you think, Mac, as another first-time viewer of this film?
On a scale of 10 dolls, I think I would give it maybe 7.5 dolls. I really liked it, but I don't think it's it's not I don't think it's I don't think I would ever want to watch it again, to be honest, but I don't mean that in a bad way. It's more this is very unsettling. It does its job as a horror movie, but not in the way of God, I can't wait to view this again. But I still liked it.
Okay.
It's a respectful 7.5.
Okay.
Nice.
It captures a very unique vibe. So I think I'm kind of with you. I don't know if I would watch it again, but I'm glad I have. There's no other film like that. So great.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
What about you, Ben? Are you
It's
a 10?
Yeah, 10 creepy severed dolls that are made up of other dolls. 100%. Blockbuster Telford nailed it when they fucked up my order on this one. They sowed a seed that has grown into just a fruitious plant.
I meant to ask you before, Ben, was that kind of fun? Like you don't know what you're going to get, or was it kind of frustrating
all the time
when you'd open up the box?
All the time.
Yeah.
There was a few, though, where it was immediately sexually explicit, so my sister got into a habit of now sitting down for the first 10, 15 minutes of the film to make sure that it wasn't too dodgy of a miss. And that kind of
why
killed
you've
it
never seen David Cronenberg's Crash.
I honestly...
Yeah, I'm going to go 10
Not my
dolls.
favorite Cronenberg.
How about you?
Nice.
I think I'm probably going to go $8.25 dolls.
Okay.
Wow.
So it's
why does it lose the 1.75?
8 dolls and an arm.
Yeah.
Some of the indie stuff is a little too indie. It's just some of the acting is off, and it's just a little rough around the edges. And that's fine. But you can definitely tell this is early in Lucky's career. So
Yeah. Do we, as a group, feel like Angela Bettis's nipples are intentionally pointing in opposite directions as a joke regarding the eyes?
I read this. So it turns out that before filming, they had an argument and they just weren't speaking to each other for the entire production.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Because they are...
Makes sense.
Yeah.
They have never seen one another.
Yeah. Separate rooms and everything. One dresser on the left, one dresser on the right.
I didn't even notice, you guys. Didn't even notice.
We know where your eyes were looking.
All right.
I was 14 when I saw this. Come on, man.
No, that's
totally
more than fair.
Right?
All right. You guys have been super generous with your time. I was wondering if you'd like to play a game.
Always.
Yeah, sure.
Oh,
Absolutely.
I'm so excited.
Definitely.
All right. So I had COVID recently. This was
Ooh, sorry.
conceived in my brain. This is a COVID brain construction.
Okay.
Nice.
But I sort of, explained it. It's kind of like 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, but with horror films. So we're trying
nice.
to form a link between the cast of different horror films. So here's what I was thinking. I wrote Amanda. Her name's Angela, right? Angela Bettis was in May.
Mm-hmm.
She was also in 12-Hour Shift.
Okay.
In 12-Hour Shift, she appeared with David Arquette.
Okay.
Right.
David Arquette was in Bone Tomahawk.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he was.
with Kurt Russell, Patrick Wilson, and Richard Jenkins. So there's 3 I can think of, departure points for each of them.
Okay.
So can you guys think of...
Kurt Russell was in The Thing, which also starred... Oh, I've done myself here, haven't I?
I was going to say.
I know
No, you haven't out. I think you have. I can think of at least one person.
I don't think I can. So, okay, I'm going to go back. Okay, so he was in... David Arquette was in Bone Tomahawk. With... What's... Okay.
You could go Patrick Wilson.
Ben, help me out. David Arquette was in Bone Tomahawk.
Yeah.
With... who was in House of a Thousand Corpses.
Oh, Sid Haig.
Thank you. Sid Haig, who was in House of a Thousand Corpses, the Rob Zombie movie. Ben, you take it from there.
Okay. So he's in House of a Thousand Corpses with Sheree Moon, who is in everything that Rob Zombie's ever done. The Munsters. There you go.
The Munsters.
The Munsters, his latest awful movie.
Oh, that just always reminds me. We did this thing a couple of years ago where I had like different people from different podcasts to give me like their top 5s of the year, and somebody chose The Munsters, and Mac and I were like,
Did they only see 5 films that year? Or
I don't know. I think what it was recency bias, and so I think he was just kind of rattling off the most recent films he had seen.
I got really drunk last night and watched The Munsters by accident. And The Munsters.
I'm looking up the cast for The Munsters. I'm cheating a little bit, but...
I remember the recency bias with the latest Texas Chainsaw Massacre. When it came out, I was like, this is what Halloween Ends should have been. And then I rewatched it and was like, no, they're both shit. Like, they're both so nice. Like, I don't know what I'm doing here.
I've had to sit through so many conversations of you discussing the entire plot in detail of the Halloween franchise. Yeah. With me constantly going, I've not seen any of them, Ben. Ben, I've not seen any of them. I've not seen any of them. And you're like, and another thing. And I'm like, I've still not seen any of them.
When Halloween Ends came out, I booked the day off work and I bought tickets to 3 showings. I bought the IMAX showing for like 11 in the morning, and then I had 2 more showings that day. And I fucking hated it the first one, and I was like, I'm too poor to be wasting money on tickets that I'm not going to use. So then I had to watch the film again in the same cinema. So all the staff saw me walk out of a film looking furious, buy more popcorn, and then immediately go back into another screening. And
what's this guy's problem?
They were literally just all like, what the fuck is this guy doing? I'm just like silently fuming to myself, mumbling at my popcorn, being like, fucking piece of shit, man. How is he allergic to a fridge? What is happening? How is that his biggest weakness? And then I drove to the next town over to watch it again that evening. It was good. I'm still not over it. And this is why I'll rant at Rob periodically about Halloween Ends.
I don't think I can play unless we go back to Bone Tomahawk.
That's totally fine.
Yeah.
And Patrick Wilson. And Patrick Wilson was in anything with
The Conjuring.
Vera Farmiga.
Oh my
The
god!
Conjuring.
Yeah.
The
Conjuring.
Farmiga.
Yeah.
And I forgot to mention there's a special wrinkle to this game.
Okay.
That if you can find a movie that has something to do with a doll, then you automatically win the game.
So Conjuring has got Annabelle in it, so I've immediately swooped in and got that point. Annabelle's in The Conjuring. Thank you for leading us to The Conjuring.
Okay. Vera Farmiga was in The Orphan, which has also got creepy dolls in it.
Yes.
And she's kind of like a human creepy doll.
I'll nod and agree. The Orphan's a film I've definitely seen.
How have you not seen Orphan, man?
Ben, I've not seen any Halloween films. What are you talking about? How have I not seen The Orphan?
I feel like I'm just letting you down at this point. Do you know what I mean?
So can we go back down the branch and find new... Okay. So Anna Faris was in...
Scary Movie 1.
No, Anna Faris, who was in...
Scary Movie 2.
Yeah. No.
Sure. Is it Scary Movie 3?
Anna Faris was Anna Faris, who was in. I've forgotten now.
Was it Scary Movie 4? This joke works exactly one more time, and then you have to give your answer.
Okay, fine. No, it's gone.
Okay.
The only other one I can think is Brokeback Mountain, and that's not a horror. That's a delightful, delightful film.
Yeah. She was in Observe and Report. I don't know if that's a horror film.
Which is the one that she was in where she plays a dealer, and I remember it being at like a pier fun fair. She was on a Ferris wheel. I can't remember what it was called. Yeah, it's like a pier seaside town fun fair thing. I think she was a dealer. I think she plays a dealer. I can't remember the name of the film.
Lovers Lane. Lovers Lane. I had to cheat as well then.
Lovers Lane?
I just remember Hook Hand Man. Or I tell you what else she was in. Scary Movie 5.
Oh, that was it. That was the one. There it is. There it is.
Do you want to give it a shot?
Come on, Mac, you got this.
You can back all the way up if you want, or
I've been looking at IMDb this entire time. You stole my beer, Farmigo. So
I'm sorry.
well, she's been in quite a few horror films.
Quite a few of them have dolls.
this is true. Well, The Nun. I feel like there is a doll in The Nun, and then Tessa.
There is, because they
Farmiga.
bring up Annabelle again.
Yeah, and Tessa Farmiga is in that, and she was in American Horror Story, and that probably had a doll at some point.
That definitely.
Oh yeah, it definitely does.
Had to have had a doll.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's great.
We all win.
Tessa Farmiga.
I like this game.
We all win.
This game's just giving me
That's
it's
a
just
good
giving
game.
me a watch list of stuff that I need to now go and watch again.
Yeah, I hope you've copyrighted it as well, because we play games on our show and we regularly run low on ideas. So thanks.
What was the thesaurus game that you guys did? That was like super fun one time, where like
we changed the title.
We got stuck on that for a few weeks.
Yeah, changed
That was really
changed the
fun.
title of a movie using a thesaurus, and then have to guess the original one.
Knock a few up together.
We got stuck on that for a while. We got stuck on sloppy synopsis.
I liked it. I didn't like it that people were angry with you about that. I thought it was fun.
That kind of made me like it more, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We do tend to lean into when people tell us not to do something. We're like, what if we do it again? Yeah.
Fully grown adults, and this is how we choose to live our lives.
Fine.
You know what I mean? Someone, random stranger on Instagram. I don't think you've done that enough already. You're like, yeah. Well, here's 6 more weeks of it, buddy. Who doesn't listen to the show ever? How about that?
Showed them.
Yeah.
We probably should have done this at the top, but would you guys like to describe your podcast and talk about what's coming up on it, and tell people where they can follow you?
I mean, so if you've got this far, well done. And
You're welcome.
Sorry. Apologies. We've been quite sweary, and we've completely just derailed these lovely people's podcasts. Ben and I are fully adult men who struggle with our mental health. And rather than admit that, what we thought we'd do is, instead of analysing ourselves and each other, we'd analyse films. Because we can sort of pick things out of the films and then maybe talk a little bit about how we're feeling without having to be like literally directly crying on a show, which we tried.
Yeah,
it didn't
It's
work.
vulnerable by proxy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
nice.
Vulnerable by proxy is good. We talk about all sorts of films. We are the Every Movie Ever podcast, which can sometimes be difficult because we tend to do every film by a director or every film in a certain series.
But the only reason we did that is literally down to commitment issues. Couldn't settle on one thing. So we were just sort of like, yeah, but what about if one day we want to do only films that have pretty donkeys in? You know what I mean? There's like 6 of them. And if we're every goofy movie ever, we can't then just lean into donkeys. You know what I mean? Commitment issues.
Yeah,
we left it open,
and we hadn't thought of the word any, which would have worked.
Ooh,
so
any
much
movie ever. That would have been good.
Yeah.
Now I feel like we're
it would have freed us up
to a lot.
Yeah. So we're currently covering the 2024 Oscar Best Pictures.
Nice.
And we've just finished phase 1 of Marvel because we thought that might be fun. Turns out
Wrong.
It was fun to cover, but not fun to promote. Because Marvel fans, they're passionate. They're a passionate bunch.
Yeah.
The amount of
say,
chafing
lightly.
honestly, the amount of chafing that we've caused. People smashing the glasses up to the bridge of their nose, like with the just sheer speed. Honestly, dude.
Yeah,
insane. Insane.
But we've done every Christopher Nolan movie ever. We've done every Batman movie ever. We've done the films of Martin McDonagh, who's a genius writer out of a British-Irish writer.
These are all like Rob's proper series ideas. I brought to the table Goebbels' Golden Grilled Cheese Sandwich, which is 3 movies about Nazis and 1 film about Nazis and gold.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. We try and balance it. But in all cases, we try and keep it sort of light, fun, and equal sort of mix of entertainment and information and insight. And yeah, we were enjoying it. Again, we do it because we enjoy hanging out with each other, and then the fact that it's a show is kind of a nice thing that's alongside.
Yeah. I think
That's great.
that's it.
Yeah.
You can find us everywhere.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. This was
it's
a really
been an
fun discussion.
Absolute joy.
Thanks for
It's been an
having
absolute
us.
joy. Yeah.
So next week, same time.
Yeah. Yes.
100%.
I'm turning into May before your eyes. Anyway, thanks so much for coming on. You guys are the best.
It's been so much fun.
It really
Thank you
has,
for having us.
honestly.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's goodbye for now.
Yeah.
Ta-ta for now.
See you soon, guys.
Have a great day, guys.
You too.
You too. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.